is yours.
Thank you.
Asante sana, habarini za mchana, karibuni. Yes, my name is Dennis Rüggeberg. I work as Deputy Country Director for German Sparkassenstiftung, which is a very difficult word, but well pronounced, here in Tanzania. We are not the classical industry partner, so you will find my presentation being a little different than from other possible industry partners. Just briefly the agenda for my presentation. I will introduce German Sparkassenstiftung in the interest of time, really just very briefly. Then I will introduce the collaborations of our organization. Next slide, please. I will introduce the collaborations of our organizations with universities in the region Eastern Africa, and then just one slide why I think there's a strong case for academia-industry linkage and what role DSIKs play. Next slide, please. Yes, so German Sparkassenstiftung for International Cooperation, briefly DSIK, was founded in 1992 to support microfinance institutions all over the world to operate more professionally, more sustainably, and fulfill their social mandate. We are funded by the German Ministry of Development Cooperation, and our origin lies in one of the biggest public banking groups in Germany, the German Sparkassen, and the basic idea is to, bring that knowledge and that expertise, thank you, to developing countries and emerging economies. Here in the region Eastern Africa, we are active in the countries Tanzania, of course, Burundi, Uganda, Kenya. Yes, these countries. And we are organized in 2 regional projects with a different focus. What are we doing here? We focus on capacity building, financial education, and institutional strengthening of relevant institutions of the microfinance sector. On the bottom you can see these are kind of like our core competencies or core areas of activity, so we have quite a broad spectrum. Just very briefly, here you see our projects worldwide. We are active in more than 54 countries currently, but over the last 20 years we have implemented a project in over 100 countries. So let me briefly talk about the collaboration that we have with Université de Burundi. The partnership was established in 2020 with the main objective to strengthen the economic and social development of the Burundian academic community. And that's very important, the academic community. We do not only focus on students, but also on lecturers, graduates, alumni, and the basic idea is to create an entrepreneurial university that meets the needs of the industry in a better way and is more practice oriented. So what are we doing together? We have established a business incubator where entrepreneurial ideas of students and graduates can be tried and tested. We have a training and coaching program for young entrepreneurs. We have exchange workshops on various entrepreneurship topics. We have established financial education clubs for students, because something what we have realized is that many students in their area of studies are very strong academically, but they lack basic financial education. And especially when you talk about entrepreneurship, graduates wanting to establish their own company, they need to know how does finance work, how to get access to loans, what is the difference between equity capital and other forms of capital. Also, DSIK is celebrating the World Savings Week once a year in October, and this is also done together with the university in Burundi. And we have done a training of trainer for financial education, and we have a training methodology called the business game simulations, which we are also using together with the university. We have a similar collaboration with the Kigali Independent University, ULK in Rwanda. This partnership was already... Sorry. Okay, this partnership was already established in 2019 with quite similar objectives like the partnership in Burundi that I just talked about. It's about practice-oriented learning and also teaching, improvement of financial literacy, entrepreneurship development, but also market readiness skills, soft skills, employability skills. So what are the major activities that contribute to these objectives? Game trainings and also training trying to empower lecturers, university staff to deliver these trainings themselves. We also do savings games trainings, which is another financial literacy training intervention. We have conducted a study tour to Germany, where students and lecturers could visit Germany and get an impression how things are done there. We have conducted the entrepreneurship summer school. I think it was conducted already 2 times, together with the Kempten University of Applied Science. And also we have upgraded the ULK finance course, meaning this course was quite good, but very theory heavy. So what we did, together with our partners in Rwanda, we tried to give it a bigger practice orientation. We did internships, we did study tours, or like field visits at Bank of Kigali and other finance institutions. We added a little bit of microfinance, which is our core competence, so to say. And also here we celebrate the World Savings Week. There has been a competition of academic papers on the topic of savings, so that students got the task to prepare an academic paper on that topic. It was quite broad, and then there was an award, and it was a very nice intervention. And also presentation skills training and TOT, CV training, all these things. So why is there a strong case for academia-industry linkage, and what's the role of DSIK? The role from the university to the private sector, to the industry, is bumpy, and it is bumpy. And it is important that organizations such as DSIK, and we are an NGO, we're coming from the non-profit field. We are not necessarily a classical industry or private sector actor. However, what we think we can do is facilitate this transition of students from the university to the job market. How do we do that? We do financial literacy and entrepreneurship trainings, because we all know the job market opportunities in some of the countries here in Eastern Africa are limited. And it's important to empower these students to also go into self-employment, establish their own companies, to follow their business ideas that they might have. However, but still we do employability and soft skill trainings, as I've already explained, CV trainings, presentation skill trainings, job interview preparations, all that. We are also offering internships. There's one example which we are just doing, and we have the colleague here, Luciana Murimi, who is a graduate here from Nelson Mandela Institute. She completed an internship with DSIK in Tanzania to develop a mobile application, which very nicely fits in our area of activity. I do not want to preempt too much about it, because she will present it tomorrow during a dedicated session. And again, as in Burundi, business incubation, where we try to bring in our expertise in entrepreneurship, our expertise in how to access finance, how to save, to raise business capital. And that's what I think that the role of DSIK in Tanzania, but also in other countries in Eastern Africa, is really bridging this gap between academia and industry, providing practical learning opportunities through internships, providing a risk-free environment, kind of like a sandbox, where students and young graduates can develop and test their ideas, which are relevant for the private sector. And again, Luciana Murimi is a very good example of that. As I still have some minutes, let me... Sorry, I forgot to... There we go. Again, that's what I said before. Sorry. There we go. Let me unhide this. No, the slide is on the backup. Yeah, so that's what I said before. This role from university to the job market, the role of DSIK. And that's already it. And I'm looking forward to a Q&A session. Any questions or comments, reflections? Very welcome. Asanteni sana for your attention. Karim.
Thank you very much. I have a question regarding what you mentioned, the game, the business game. Can you just, what was it about? Because it sounded quite interesting.
Yeah, thank you for that. DSIK has tested training methodology which we apply all over the world. It's called business game simulations. These business game simulations, we have them we have a savings game, we have a farmer's business game, and we have a micro business game. These are practice-oriented board games. They are played over a period of 3 days, coached by a DSIK trainer who is certified in that. And they kind of reflect real-life business scenarios for these target groups, for entrepreneurs, for farmers, and they really go through various cycles. For example, of their business, they need to buy stocks, they need to do marketing, they need to find customers, they need to access finance. And again, these games are played in groups over several rounds, and it's really a practice-oriented learning approach. They face real-life scenarios. It's some sort of competition between these groups. They can get a certain score. Between these rounds that the game is played, we have know-how sessions where we share additional information about, for example, farming techniques or marketing techniques for micro-entrepreneurs. And this is really applicable to a wide target group. So, we can do these games with Majinga in Dar es Salaam, but we have also adjusted the methodology to fit university students, of course, then with a different level of sophistication. Thank you for the question.
Would you see, kind of talking about the entrepreneurial activities you are running, would you see a chance to link it with the activities here in this program? Or is it kind of being closed to sessions?
I think our training methodology offers quite a broad range of application. It can be tailored to different contexts. And also here, I think it's very valuable to consider that and maybe see how we can twist and tailor our, for example, entrepreneurship trainings to graduates or even students from National Mandela Institute. Yeah. And we have done that successfully in Burundi and Kigali. It works quite well. And again, I think, just reading through the booklet of abstracts, I think there are so many nice ideas which might not all be feasible in the private sector, but maybe some graduates would like to, establish their own company, do a startup kind of thing. And I assume that our training approach could be very valuable here. Thank you.
Any other question? Thank you very much for such interesting topic. It's good that you have also said that you work with Tanzania. I think you already know that in the Tanzanian system there are already too big a number of classes, but also programs are run in semesters. Now, one of the things you mentioned was the aspect of internship. In your opinion, how do you think this could be maybe possible, given this the environment in which the learners learn in the Tanzanian environment, vis-a-vis the tight schedule following the semester system?
Also, thank you very much for that very good question. Indeed, this is a challenge. We have experienced that with our colleague over there, Luciana. She was with us for 6 months, which sounds very long, and this internship was part of a degree program here. And we thought 6 months, wow, that's a long time. She can develop an app, she can test it, she can implement it. Time was flying. It was quite challenging to complete that in 6 months. Now that we talk about students who cannot integrate an internship in their degree program as a part of the, credit system, that's indeed challenging. If you only have 6 to 8 weeks between semesters, these would be very short internships. It would be more like getting to know how does an NGO work, how does the microfinance sector work, really developing a solution that can be scaled up and implemented. I think that would be challenging. So personally, I would prefer making internships a mandatory part of the degree program itself and not forcing students to squeeze it in between 2 semesters, which should also be used for recovery from a very tough learning period. Thank you very much.
Because of time, we're going to welcome the last question.
Hello.
Yes, Karibu.
I would like actually to understand if you work with the universities, right? And most of the, let's say, for technological innovators from the universities, there is always that challenge, especially of taking maybe their products out there in terms of, and now how do you get in? Is it that you're setting up an incubator within the university, or what is the model that you are using so that even those ones in other sciences, like the ones some doing maybe some technology research, working with other technological, but they have a product, they can have access to this. What is the model?
That's a very good question, thank you. So with these two universities in Eastern Africa, University of Burundi and ULK, we do have a formal partnership. And this partnership is quite broad. However, so far we have mainly focused on business and finance students, not yet on other science, such as engineering, ICT, things like that. So that's definitely a to-do on our list, to also include more faculties, a wider range of students. And maybe what I have in mind is also pairing students from different faculties. You know, why do not match a business student or finance student with an engineering ICT student? You know, and they actually scale up such a solution together. So thank you very much. I take that up for further consideration. Thank you. Asanteni sana.
So thank you, Dennis. Can you give him another round of applause for Dennis? So all these discussions are being documented by the Secretariat and then compiled in a report, so that at the end they'll be able to help develop strategy and guidelines for enhancing partnership and collaborations sustainably. So let's continue. So the next presenter we are going to present is going to present on the topic current status of academia industry engagement. And here we have René Kessier from University of Oldenburg, Germany. So, Ren, you're welcome.
My name is René Kessler and I'm a researcher from the University of Oldenburg, so I'm a member of the department. And I'm really happy to be here today and give you a little talk about my project in which I'm working for the last 5 years, so a research cooperation with the ABAT AG, which is basically an IT consultant company from Germany. And my talk is titled with the title Innovation Through Cooperation. And firstly, I will briefly discuss the motivation and the goals of our project, and then I will explain how we try to reach our goals, and also how we try to integrate our research project in our teaching, because it's a very important aspect in our project. And then I will say a few words about the benefits for the cooperating company, so ABAT, and also the benefits for us as a university. And I will also then get into more detail on these benefits at a practical example, so example sub-project in our research cooperation. In the last step, I will give you a short summary of the practical implications for companies and also for us as a research and teaching organization. So let's start with the goals of our project. So what do we try to reach? On the one hand, I think the most important aspect or goal is creating or generating new insights and knowledge. So we want to do some real research on, I would say, challenges from the business world. So we want to build and implement some solutions for that. And what we don't want to do is doing this on a purely theoretical basis. So we want to do our research, and we also want to learn and teach using practical examples, and this is the area where the ABAT AG is very participating in our project. And in doing so, we also include several students in our teaching and in different project activities, and that means that the students also work on these real-world problems, challenges, or so-called real-world scenarios. And for our partner, the Arbeit AG, it's also very interesting, besides the insights and research part, that they can get in touch with students, so they can improve their recruiting. And also we should not ignore that it's what could be very attractive for customers of our partner if our partner company, the Arbeit AG, has the image as a researching company and also doing some state-of-the-art stuff. Such laggy, but it works. So how do we do that, and how can we reach our goals? First of all, I would say the most important part is communication. So communication is the most important thing. We always try to talk as much as possible with each other, and also try to develop our ideas in our discussions for the identified problems from the practice world. And the ideas are then often discussed in workshops and some meetings. And if we think that we have a challenge which is really important for the company or also for research, we try to transform this challenge or identified problem into some proof of concept. So we want to try to find a quick solution for the problem. And if we then discuss it again and notice that it's or could be a good solution for the challenge, then we plan the further steps and try to do the further development of our proof of concept. And in this sense, I would say it's a constant exchange between our partners. So we try to really talk as much as possible, and if we reach our, I would say, planned solution for the problem, we then also write publications together and do the communication part. So also Arbeit can use the solutions in their marketing activities, for example. The next part are the formats and the integration in the teaching. So during the last 5 years, we implemented several various formats in our teaching activities. So for example, we offer in many cases for students that they have the opportunity to write their thesis at our partner companies, so they get the support of Arbeit, get some infrastructure support, also some knowledge and help, so basically a practice supervision additionally to the university supervision of the thesis. And they're also working on a real-world problem from our partner, so it's also in most cases not a really theoretical thesis. And what we also offer are project groups. Oh, I forgot to press on this. So these are the theses, and now I'm here. So we also offer project groups, and this is a relatively special teaching format at our university, I would say. Basically, you can imagine it as a group of 12 students working on one project for 1 year. So for example, they are implementing some complex software systems, and it's like a bit of a game, because we as university and also our partner company, the Arbeit AG, is acting like the customer or the contract partner. So we are writing the requirements, and the students act like a startup, I would say, and try to solve the requirements and implement it. And what we also do is very frequently offer classical formats like modules in teaching or lectures. So the experts from our partner company are coming to the lectures and give some guest lectures and support us in the teaching. And it's also very good in my opinion, because we are able to improve our lectures based on these practical insights we don't have at the university. How can companies benefit from it, and also how can we benefit? I think very important for companies is that we are generating new insights and knowledge, and these knowledge and insights can then be used for new products or services in long-time vision. Also, we try to spread the knowledge we gained internally in the company. So we implemented some formats like so-called essential lectures. So the employees of the company come to our lectures, and we try to spread the knowledge in the company. So it's not only at one person, and we can just make it accessible. And also, we are using the insights we gained in marketing and public relation activities. So we are giving webinars and writing white papers besides the scientific utilization of our knowledge, so we also try to address conferences and journals and writing scientific publications together with our partners from the company. As I said, I also want to explain it at a practical example from a real project within our corporation. So I don't want to get into technical details, but I think it's important to understand what we are doing in order to also understand how we utilize this information. So in this project, we solved the problem of a customer of the Arbeit AG. And this customer is, because it's based in Germany, it's mandatory for this customer that they are counting their stock. So they are running through the warehouse and counting every product they have. It's defined in the commercial code in Germany. And this is a very manual task and very time consuming, and our idea was to automate this process, and this is what we've done with artificial intelligence. So I don't want to get into technical details, you can ask me after my presentation, but what we have done with this insights we gained through this project was that we, on one hand, write a scientific publication together with our partners, and it was accepted and presented, and on the other side we also tried to use these information and knowledge and do more practice-oriented, I would say, paper. We call this a white paper, and this is also public in web and can be used or read from the customers. And it's, I think, maybe better for customers to understand than scientific papers. So in summary, we have some practical implications for our industry partners and also some implications for us as a research and education organization. So in principle, companies can profit from the research results. I think it's very important for most industry partners, and also they can improve their image as a researching company and doing state-of-the-art science. And also they can get innovative solutions for the challenges, or for internal challenges, but also for challenges from the customers. And also the recruiting can be supported, so they are just get in touch with students, which is, especially in Germany, a big problem that many companies did not find young professionals or academics to be employed in the company. And also for us as a university, it's possible that we can improve our practical orientation, so we can maybe prepare the students more practice-oriented for their entry in the job market. And also we are able to work on real problems from the real world, on real data, which is especially in the data science domain very interesting, I think. And this is not possible without our practice partners or without our industry partners. And also we can use the infrastructure. For example, if we are talking about SAP systems, which were very expensive, our industry partner has these systems, and we can use them for our research. And also we get some support and teaching from the companies. We can also use it for our, I would say, public relation activities. So it's, I think, very attractive for students if we have several contacts to the industry. And also, I think for us as a researcher, it's also very interesting to have the opportunity to do the evaluation of research results in a real environment, and, for example, the customers of our industry partners. Okay, so if you have any questions, just ask them yet or later. Thank you. Questions?
Hello. I'm interested to understand, for instance, how do you structure the if a student comes in, what are the options of intellectual property, for instance, when they're working with this academia industry collaboration?
Yeah.
So previously, in my previous role before I came to this particular role in Tanzania, I was working with a university in Kenya, and there was that struggle between when a solution has been developed, let's say by a university, how do you ensure the innovation transfer or intellectual property ownership? Yeah.
I think the most important is that you have to talk about these aspects, but we also have the contract, and everything is defined, so it's I think it's safe under that perspective. But on the other hand, it's in our project not really a problem because both sides can utilize the research results. So yeah, what you are doing is your property. So,
Yeah, at the point of developing the contract, at the contract stage, what do you advise in given different contexts and scenarios, for instance? Because I do know that universities want to be sustainable. Like if you take a case of Stanford and Google and stuff like that, single-digit ownership of the property is a good motivator for the university, and also a good motivator for the private sector, for instance. How have you handled, or have you seen situations being handled in different contexts that you can talk about?
I think I have not have seen any of those situations because at our university there is no, or our university does not try to do some economic utilization of our results. So it's just we rewrite our publications and our solutions are our ownership, and I think it's just a thing you have to discuss with the partners, and if there are struggles in these discussions, I think it's not the right combination of the partners, so it can be difficult during the project. But a very important topic, I think, but I would advise anything if I could.
Maybe I can add, see in 1 second, maybe I can add directly to the proposal. I don't see the lady. Okay, so what, Linda, okay, Linda, sorry, I didn't see it because of the color. Linda, what we do now is the other way around. We support students with good ideas with a program funded by the Ministry of Economic Affairs, granting them for 1 year scholarship going towards their own business. Of course, they have to apply for it. But as René pointed out, we're not running as a business unit. We support, we motivate, we encourage students in order to really strive towards a business and take, for instance, the tool they developed to be later on applied in this program. They get really a 1 year contract with the university in order to really go towards an own business with the tool they develop. And they, of course, further develop. Understand?
Okay, last question.
I had the same question like Linda. So it was already answered. Just very briefly, thank you for that presentation. I think it shows very nice that everyone's on the winning side. The student gets practical experience, testing ground, the corporate partner benefits, university benefits. So for me, this is really like a blueprint type of trilateral cooperation. Thank you very much for sharing.
So, plans for it's going to be a little different. We're going to have a student experience during internship program. And to do that, we have Jihad Ngani, the third cohort's Icta-Emos student. You're welcome.
Good afternoon. I'm delighted to be here today. Such experience. Second year master's. So welcome to today's talk on workshop developing strategies for academia and industry engagement for sustainable development. Okay, so this is what I'll take you through. Number one would be the problem identification. That is, identification of existing problems that hinder collaborative initiatives. This is between the university and the industry. Number two is collaboration. The application, that is where we're going to apply we'll see a use case of triple helix method to bridge the academia and the industry space. And then we have the benefits, which indicates the mutualism between the two organizations, that the academia and industry. And number three, we have the design, the framework. Number four, we have the benefits, indicates that, sorry. Number four, we go to framework, which is the identification of communication framework. And then design strategy. And then we have adoption criteria, and finally just a summary of the whole synthesis. Okay, so the existing problem. So currently we have this during my internship period. So what happens at the Nelson Mandela African Institution of Science and Technology, during our internship period, you identify a place, you identify a gap in the industry for 1 month, and then after that you work on a project to support and be able to solve a solution, a challenge. So some of the things you try to link when you're in that process is the use of old process techniques. So can say maybe an industry is using old technology and you have learned new technology, so that integration becomes a bit difficult. So you find that you met with culture shock, industry shock. Number two is a theory. You might be learning something in class, and when you go to the industry, it's not applicable, but you have a challenge there. So how do you overcome that? Of obtain academic knowledge may vary at industry. You might be studying, yes, embedded systems, which is in the industry, but when you go, it's either too advanced for your case, and now you have to find a fit for your case. Number three, there's a disconnect between the academia researchers and the industry researchers. So we have academia, they develop journal papers, academic papers. The industry researchers develop white papers. So if there is a link between the researchers, because white papers are purely for industry development, what is existing in industry. For the academia, so if the two can be brought together, that would be a good connection. And then we have the industry sometimes is reluctant to implement new ideas, whereas the academia is reluctant to adopt new teaching ideas. So that's now where we have Hello? Okay, I think I'm good. Yeah, so we have, so I was saying the industry is sometimes reluctant to implement new ideas, where the academia is reluctant to adopt new teaching practices. So if there's a curriculum review, it takes time for the academia to also adopt based on the current trend of technology. Yeah, so in terms of academia and industry collaboration plan, this is one of the studies I borrowed. Yeah, so the use of triple helix method model, which defines, says that, states that you bring the academia, the industry, and the government for them to formulate ideas and be able to come together. So for the students themselves, they are researchers, they are going to get the research area, and then for the academia is now where we have the professors, the doctors, they're going to guide the students, and then the industry, this is where we have the problem. So if the student comes with an idea from an industry point of view, and is helped by the research professor, then it becomes an integrated system where they can foster the innovation through a friendly environment. Then we have collaboration benefits. This is when the student, the industry, and the academia in general, and the public gain through the collaborative efforts. We have the industry professionals, which share their ideas either through white papers or new technologies, new improvements like the WhatsApp you saw they are brought in the community feature, which is good, the reaction feature, so some of the things that they get feedback from. And then we have students, they find relevancy between the theory and practical approach. So if you go to an industry where I was attached to a brewery factory, and I was able to understand how embedded systems are able to solve issues like robotics, are able to do packaging and such kind of things. Then you have academic research can help in practical implementation in an industry environment. So that means when you're doing your research in an industry, it opens up your mind to also be more innovative on how to improve the efficiency of that industry. We have number 4, where we have talking about industry. They share ideas with these students and get feedback on the needed research development. So in these multinational companies, you have a research department. And that research department always looks for students when they come through internship. They have to attach them to a particular problem, and then they are able to solve it. So that research and development department is what we're lacking in this region. But if we have that one, then the student can be attached to those research R&D institutes, and they can be able to solve the industry challenges by linking them, the professors, and the industry practitioners. Then we have industrial mutual benefits through student hiring industry partnership with. So if we have MOUs, this means that we are going to give you new students, and the return that is giving back to society, you're going to employ my students. At the end of the day, they're going to get something, either they're going to get permanent employment or some relevance in terms of their academic journey. And this is just a framework for interrelation improvement, where we have the do something to develop an idea. This way going there for review, and then these are just the building blocks. That is a proposed investment and costs problem. And then finally, have finalized. This is just academia to industry. AIC is academia, this one is academia, industry. So this is just a model where you have the process here. Is that collaboration. So every key partner here is going to play a key role and ensure that they follow this an MOU or a partnership agreement. In terms of to enhance communication, we need an open-ended discussion between the industry and the academia. That's why we need to welcome more of the industry to academia so that they can tell us their problem. And we go to the industry, how the industry go and identify the problem, and then we come up with one idea. So that's how we do it. You go and identify a problem, you come to your supervisor, and then you have to defend your project. So that's openness. So they accept the industry, and the professors also accept your use case. Then the knowledge transfer. And then we have the information sharing age, where you now be able to share information, and also acceptance and testing. Once I've developed something from the industry to solve a particular solution, then you have to, the user acceptance has to activities. These are just some of the for that kind. Maybe it's innovative idea, you're closing a deal, you're making a business, and some kind of things. And then finally, we're looking at the startup contribute. That's just a connection between the market-based research, like what we have at the Nelson Mandela Institution, where we have the incubation centers, and these are able to tap into student ideas, come up with solution, and this solution will be marketable and commercialized for revenue generation. So this is just an adoption model. I borrowed this guide from the SDG guide, which states just a framework for us to be able to realize the industry is like SDGs, 17 SDGs. So if you follow that guide and then be able to realize, because the industries are in the SDGs. So if you follow that guide, then you're able to achieve one common agenda. And finally, the summary here on step 1, I think it's just an umbrella. If you look at R&D roadmap, so this is just a roadmap. Academic and industry R&D roadmap, then we have step 1, step 2, step 3, up to step 5, where we have you map. So the industry and the academia, they map their skills level. If I'm a brewery company, what do I need? Do I need control engineer, chemical engineers? I know my deficiency. I am an institution. I don't have chemical engineering as a course. So what do? I need to introduce it. Yet you have a factory which you don't have. So then from there, go to partners and MOUs. Then you do capacity building. Then identify the priorities. Then step 4, you integrate and implement the solution in the gap. That's now we have the organizational principles. And finally, look at step 5, which is now where you monitor, evaluate, and communicate the outcomes. This is now where you have maybe you have a marketable commercialized products, and now you come up and evaluate how is it performing, how is the student faring with that. So, and that is kind of marks the end of my presentation. If there are any questions, kindly submit. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for the presentation. What is meant with capacity building in this sense? When you're in your, let's say, environment, what do you mean with capacity building?
Capacity building for in academic sector, you may have professors, but you don't have the professors to cover particular disciplines, particular. So for you to do a capacity, maybe you need students and you don't have professors around. So maybe you just need to have them deploy new professors with new skills, or may employ new, add to what you already have, so that if you have many students who have different needs, but you have less professors or less doctors in the academia, then you need the same way to industries. If you have less experts, you can either hire new ones or you can train existing intern students. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Just trying to understand how to measure it, or how to measure the success of capacity building. For me, for instance, capacity building to measure something successfully is, let's say, the amount of students being enrolled in that program and going to industry. So the acceptance rate, right? It is a measure for the university regarding capacity building. Or if I export in an international project things we are doing in Germany to, let's say, Latin America, right? In order to do capacity building measures, teach the teacher, trainer programs, right? Something like that is a capacity building measure. Is this what you meant with it?
Yes, that's what I meant.
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much for that good presentation. I also appreciated the various frameworks you introduced. I did not know them. What I would be interested in is you have done the internship yourself. I felt your presentation was framed very positively, which of course is nice, but maybe you can also name 1 or 2 challenges you encountered during your internship. That would be very interesting for me.
Yeah, there are quite a number of challenges. The industry is demanding, and the academia is demanding. So the supervisor needs you to submit your progress, and the industry has assigned you a particular task. Now that task is a learning lesson for you. You're also learning the process. But because of the limited time, you cannot be able to achieve that objective, because at the end of the day, like for us, it was 6 months. It was very limited. So even for you to be able to fully understand and complete some assignments, you just had to hand over to someone. So those are some of the challenges. And then also the industry expects that we know a lot of things from the academia, which sometimes you find you go there and you're totally out and they expect a lot from you. So the expectation from the industry, especially masters and PhD students, is quite high in the industry, so they expect you to solve all their problems, which is viably not possible. So that's now where also another challenge.
Thank you, very insightful. Thanks for sharing.
We have another question?
I think mine is a bit general. Relating to what the other lady asked about the aspect like to do with patent, whatever, or copyright. Because normally it's not that the universities cannot innovate, they do, but the innovations at the end of the day, they are very crude, such that they cannot directly be commercialized. Because for example, I attended one of the research weeks in certain universities and I found very good innovations, but looking into the shapes of those innovations, one of them was the solar panel for cooking. And I was asking, if this product is taken directly, then it cannot be sold in the price that is beneficial to the innovator. Then the most challenge, the big challenge I see is that taking the innovation into a final, refined, commercialized kind of thing. So without patenting and copywriting, you end up the innovation being copied or taken by the industry and refined. At the end of the day, universities and whatever researchers don't benefit as it is expected. Now, with your model, how do you think this can be solved?
Thank you so much for that very tricky question. Yes, it's very tricky. But what institutions are doing, there's what we call an NDA. And these are really working well. Non-disclosure agreement, even the industry have non-disclosure agreement. So when you go to the internship, the first thing they give you is NDA form, and you have to sign it. So even the university gives you an NDA form, you have to sign it. So it binds the two treaties. So if the data I collected at my internship during my research is found at another competitors for their own advantage, it will be a fight between the NDA. They'll just review the NDA and they go to the student, they go to the university, and who leaked the information, then one of them has to be kept culpable. So in that way, those NDAs are frameworks, and they bind you to a particular. So if you're not going to innovate your product, but if you want to innovate your product to commercially, then go to an incubation center or just do a permit. And then once the institution allows you to expose it, then you are to it. But if the institution is not able to allow you to expose it, then there's no, yeah.
Thank you. Can you have a round of applause for him? Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Now we have two remaining presenters, and I am told that really the time is not on our side. So I was suggesting for the two presenters, each one to use 7 minutes. That'll be okay. So let's try and move with time. Okay. So I'm going to welcome now another presenter, Dr. Edna Makule, to present on existing initiative on commercialization of research and innovation.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Okay, I will try my best to fit in 7 minutes, but yeah. My names are Edna Makule, and leading the Directorate of Research and Innovation, as well as a senior lecturer in Department of Food Biotechnology. So I will present to you the existing initiative on commercialization of research and innovation, but this is the experience from Nelson Mandela African Institution of Science and Technology. Just a brief background on who are we. Is this working? On who are we? So the Nelson Mandela African Institution of Science and Technology was established in 2009, but the establishment of the institution started way back 2002, and it was an initiative of the late President of South Africa, Nelson Mandela. It is a research-intensive institution committed to train postgraduate scholars, that is MSc, PhD, and postdoc, and mainly to build on science, engineering, and technology, but also research innovation skills that leads to technologies development. So faculties and scholars are tasked to engage with industry and society in searching for problems, and also later on conduct research and produce innovative outputs, and that can be either products, services, or solutions which address the community and industry problem. So in response to that, the NM-AIST has established a directorate that is responsible for management of research and innovation. And it's a newly formed directorate, and yes, it is operating under the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic Research and Innovation, and it is aimed to coordinate and manage NM-AIST research and innovation activities, but also ensures that identifies and exploit and commercialize inventions and innovation in partnership with internal and external stakeholders. It comprises of the 4 interconnected departments that is guided by our intellectual property policy and research and innovation policy and guidelines. So this is the organogram for the directorate. So as I said before, it has the 4 interconnected offices. The first office, the research management office, where it deals with all the research before the invention or innovation. So grant management, research progress, and the inventory of all the projects that we have, and taking care of also the project progress. And we have the second office, that is the incubation office. So this is the custodian of our incubation center, the NM-AIST Innovation-Based Incubation Center. We have the Intellectual Property Management Office, which is the office that is responsible for all the intellectual property, that is filing, awareness creation, checking on the sensitive, like innovation and advice on the protection. And lastly, we have an Office of Technology Transfer and Commercialization that deals with commercialization of all potential inventions that emanated from the research work at the institution. So we have tried to develop our innovation ecosystem, and that starts from the schools that we have. We have 4 schools, and the first one is on the life science and bioengineering, computation and communication science and engineering, material, energy, water and environment sciences. So students, when they are enrolled, they are absorbed in the 3 schools, and they are trained in science and technologies related to the 3 schools. But in addition to that, they are given appreciable doses of business studies and humanities courses, and from there, they are released to the internship for a couple of months. So from the internship, they are searching for a problem that they will solve during their research period. And during the research, that is the time they develop solutions through the application of science, technology, and innovation. And post-research, depending on the type of the output and the outcome that emanates from their research work, that's where the they go, depending on also the potential of the output, it can pass to the incubation and technology transfer and commercialization. And that's where we are standing. And post that, then it can go to give impact to the society, to the social and to the social-economic development. So this is how the research and innovation framework works. So these are the 4 offices, how they work. We have the first, the research and innovation, research management office. So this is where all the research proposal development and the appraisals are worked in, managing of the and coordinating of the research projects, and also assessment of the created potential invention. So we have a tool to assess at which stage the invention or research output is. Is it like, does it need to be further perfected? Then it can go back and be taken to a student, or a master's student or PhD student for further studies. But does it fit for it to be incubated and later on be commercialized? So after that, the innovation can, depending on the status of innovation, it can either pass directly to the protection and go to commercialization if it is perfect enough to be commercialized. And if not, then it can be protected and go to the incubation. Or either it can pass it through incubation and then protection and commercialization. So we have the achievement that we have made so far. As I said, this is a newly developed directorate. We started working into 4 offices in 2020. So we have made an inventory of all the research output that has been, as the outcome of all the research that has been conducted at NM-AIST. And in those, we have evaluated and come up with a 73 potential innovation in the area of biopesticides, health food products, nanofilter wastewater management, leather tanning, IT, or digital innovation, vaccine and animal products, etc. So from those, so some of these innovations like this, sorry.
Time, please conclude.
Conclude.
At least one question. So.
Okay. How shall I go? Should I?
Just conclude.
Conclude. So, just to conclude, we have so many, like you say, a number of potential innovation to be commercialized, and we are working to push them to commercialization, and we are about to commercialize our first innovation on anti-plagiarism, and the process towards the end. And yeah, thank you, because I have a lot to say.
Okay, thank you. So, because of time, I'm going to allow you one question for Dr. Edna. One question for me to the next speaker. Yes, please.
Edna, I think we have spoken already about it. How do you support students in terms of financial issues? Is there any kind of support, or can you ask for to someone else to get that kind of support? Just it's a little bit of infrastructure, a computer, a piece of hardware, or whatever.
It's supporting our incubators, for example. Yes, that is one of the challenges I put in the last slide. I couldn't show it. We felt quite, we struggled for financial a couple of, let's say 1 year or 2 years ago, but thank God that we got funding from the government, and we have a substantial amount to support the incubators in that. But we are also seeking for funding to support our incubators, and that is on this. Now we are laying strategies for the sustainability of the incubator, because we need fund for the development of this innovation. We haven't yet to like selling or our IPs, so we are yet to experience the income from selling of our IP. So we have to invest first, and that's where we struggle. But currently we are sure we can run for the next 5 years supporting potential innovation. And from there, we are expecting that in the process of selling them and also working to attract more funding to the incubator, maybe that way we can succeed in supporting student potential innovation.
If I'm allowed, a very, very fast question, I know she will answer. You mentioned the intellectual property management. Can you just say me what it is? Because normally under our let's say, understanding, intellectual properties are always with the students when they do their research or their final thesis. They are always with them. So what is it about? What is it about? What are we talking about when it comes to the management of intellectual property?
Yes, so the case here is different because for the NM-AIST, all the IP belongs to the institution. And it acknowledges the position of the inventor. And also when it comes, we have the policy that it guides also loyalty distribution. So when it goes to the end, there are also distribution of the loyalties, but the IP belongs to the institution.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Dina. So the last presenter, we have Dr. Janet Mara, and the topic is Framework for Sustainable Academia Industry Linkages. It says agree 7 minutes. One question.
Yes, hello everyone. So I'm going to do my level best so that I can be able to use the allocated minutes. My topic goes with forming new frameworks of learning using higher learning institution for industry developments. Could be a pathway to achieve Agenda 2030 for inclusive, sustainable economic developments. So here we are saying that United Nations has been able to develop this agenda and is pushing to every country so that we can be able to have a better place to live. And here we're saying that the 2030 agenda creates a platform to propose various approaches to address the existing, emerging and future-pressing challenges. So we are saying that however some countries keep on lagging due to limited access to resources and equal opportunity to contribute to economic independence. So here I'm asking myself that could be that we are left only with 8 years to realize the 2030 agenda. The slide is not moving. Okay. So here we are saying that there are existing efforts for global and regional levels to integrate sustainable developments. Example, you find that in regional levels, African countries have integrated the sustainable development in national development plans, including education institutions. But here again, we are saying that following UN 2014, it also says that it allows every human being to acquire the knowledge, skills, and attitude and values necessary to shape the sustainable future, including the informal sector. So here we are saying also that informal sector, you'll find that it contributes about 75% for non-agriculture employment and estimated 72% of total employment in sub-Saharan Africa, which contributes to small business. And then again, you find that informal sector learning generates through non-formalized process. And it does not require any validation by itself, but again, also it forms a body of knowledge. But we all know that the formal sector uses a formalized process using stage-by-stage training that are validated by the assessment of skill level attained through certification, diplomas, and awarding scheme accredited center. So in light of this evidence-based literature, it suggests that an engagement of higher learning institution can equitably catalyze and accelerate achievement of sustainable development, including both formal and informal sector. So here my contention is that if a professor can supervise a student to graduate formally and both receive a recognition, is there a new way of a mechanism of a professor maybe to supervise informal groups and both receive recognition? How do we engage formal and informal sector? How do we develop strong knowledge base for problem solving in our communities? However, also there are existing challenges. For example, lack of sustainable job creation, lack of decent jobs, lack of knowledge management that permeates to low skill level, and then at the same time also lack of competence and eventually increases number of informal sector. So you'll find that even we can train the formal people or to get knowledge, but eventually when they go to the community, because of lack of knowledge and lack of skills, they compound to be informal. So how can we be able to bridge this gap? Whereby we have theories, but at the same time also we have existing practices in a community. So you'll find that by doing this, what we are proposing here is that can we be able to develop a transformative knowledge? Because of time, I may not be able to explain everything, but you will find that the way I've presented here is that when we go to school and when we gather experience, but we cannot be able to apply it, we all have what we call the foundation knowledge. For me, I call it the seed knowledge. And this seed knowledge allows you to be able to engage, to practice, so that you can be able to make it practical and visible. So you will find that most people, if they will be able to learn, but without practicing that knowledge, you find that they will be able to contribute only to factor-driven economy. But again, we're saying that here we can be able to promote these knowledges so that we can be able to transform them to be transformative knowledge, whereby we can be able to make people to be able to contribute to the economy of efficient-driven economy. Now, making these people, it means that they need also to form NGOs, or maybe they can form startups or small business. And eventually, if they practice this on the long basis, then they will change it to be more of a sophisticated economy, whereby you'll have what we call prosperity knowledge. So here we are saying that what can higher education do? So what initiative can we be able to ensure that no one is left behind? And which strategy should we consider to apply? So I'm proposing that maybe these four can be among the importance, and whereby we can find that what would be the way forward. Whereby we're saying that we need to embrace collective intelligence. Then at the same time, we need also to develop co-creation and production. And also at the same time, outreach and community-based research, where to ideas.